God's blessings to everyone. This is a DGHradio.com news and information news update for the Caribbean, and I'm reporter SGD reporting the news for September 18th, 2025, covering the latest developments from across the Caribbean. We begin in Jamaica, where the lower house opened its new term with the return of a familiar hand to the Speaker's chair. The majority pressed its case for continuity and experience, while the minority registered concern over past procedural disputes and called for heightened impartiality. The day's proceedings included oaths, organization of committees, and early positioning on bills tied to infrastructure, public safety, and social reform. Why this matters. The tone set by the presiding team can shape the fairness of debate, the pace of legislation, and public trust in Parliament. Questions to consider. Should crossbench support be required for presiding officers? What practical metrics can citizens use to judge impartiality in real time? Also, in Jamaica's political arena, the opposition has filed a formal challenge in a closely watched urban constituency, alleging irregularities in the vote. Oversight bodies will review claims around ballot handling and verification. Why this matters. Electoral integrity underpins every budget, law, and appointment that follows. Questions to consider. What tighter safeguards will improve transparency without burdening voters? Can technology reduce disputes while protecting privacy? Turning to security around the region, a police recruit at a national training academy now faces serious charges after an altercation that left a roommate injured. The case has prompted internal reviews on conflict management, mental health supports, and screening. In Trinidad and Tobago, officers destroyed 2 cannabis fields in a hilly Cuva district and are probing supply chains that sustain hidden plots. And in Barbados's waters, leaders are urging clarity and deconfliction as powerful nations intensify counter-narcotics operations at sea, warning that fishermen, cargo routes, and tourism reputations must be protected even as traffickers are pursued. Why this matters. Public confidence in law enforcement rests on discipline inside academies, targeted intelligence against illicit markets, and strong rules of engagement that keep legitimate users of the sea safe. Questions to consider. Could a regional incident registry improve transparency at sea? Would carefully regulated medical markets blunt illegal cultivation incentives? How can training academies hardwire stress management and mediation skills? Geopolitics meets maritime stability as Venezuela stages multi-day military exercises in the Caribbean featuring drones, naval units, and electronic systems. Neighboring states are monitoring for potential spillovers into trade and fishing lanes. Why this matters. Even non-combat drills can unsettle shipping and insurance, raising costs across our islands. Questions to consider. Should CARICOM seek observer status in military hotlines to reduce miscalculation? What protocols should seafarers follow when approached by drones or patrol craft? Public safety headlines at home include the grim discovery of skeletal remains in a Trinidad cemetery, where investigators are checking records, assessing possible tampering, and strengthening site security. Elsewhere, police have identified the victim in a multi-vehicle collision, renewing calls for safer speeds, better road design, and education campaigns. Why this matters. Swift, transparent investigations and preventive upgrades save lives and sustain community trust. Questions to consider. Can digitized burial maps prevent disturbing discoveries? Which road safety fixes, enforcement, engineering, or education deliver the biggest impact fastest? On the economic front, a major energy operator in Guyana reports billions of United States dollars spent with domestic suppliers and thousands of local hires through partners and vendors, marking steady growth in local content, training, and supply chain capacity. In Belize, a new insolvency and bankruptcy law aims to speed viable rescues, protect employees and small suppliers, and bring cross-border predictability. The Cayman Islands are modernizing subsea internet cables for redundancy and bandwidth, fortifying a digital lifeline for finance, public safety, and daily life. And Guyana is racing to skill its workforce for energy and construction demand with technical training, credential standards, and apprenticeships. Why this matters? Strong local supply chains, clear business rescue rules, resilient connectivity, and a trained workforce make the difference between a short boom and durable shared prosperity. Questions to consider. How do we prove training leads to sustained, well-paid jobs? Should cable landing redundancy be mandated by law? Can early-stage credit be unlocked by faster, fairer restructuring? Tourism and transport saw major moves. The Bahamas posted a record third quarter for arrivals by air and sea, crediting diversified marketing, new routes, and broader island offerings. Caribbean Airlines will launch direct connections to South America, easing long-standing travel frictions and opening trade, culture, and leisure in both directions. Barbados, meanwhile, is pushing a licensing and inspection regime for short-stay accommodations, with industry asking, who will inspect, while disability advocates welcome new accessibility requirements and urge phased, affordable retrofits and staff training. Why this matters. The region's growth engine depends on safe, accessible, and well-connected experiences, and on spreading benefits beyond traditional hubs. Questions to consider. Should accredited private inspectors help clear backlogs under public oversight? How can booking platforms verify and display accessibility features? Will new South American routes reshape our visitor mix? Across government modernization, a rebranded corporate and intellectual property agency in Barbados is streamlining processes to cut backlogs and improve service to entrepreneurs. A fresh report shows Caribbean tech startups, especially in financial technology, renewable energy, and education technology, are attracting more capital, aided by hubs, accelerators, and digital adoption. Jamaica is negotiating new trade pathways with African partners, eyeing exports from agriculture and the creative industries and improved logistics links. Why this matters. Faster business services, startup dynamism, and South-South trade diversification reduce vulnerability and create high-skilled jobs at home. Questions to consider. Which digital tools most quickly slash approval times? Would a regional payments rail accelerate startup growth? What shipping and air cargo fixes make Africa-Caribbean trade truly scalable? Climate and environment are front and center. Regional agencies convened an emergency meeting to confront massive sargassum blooms fouling beaches, fisheries, and reefs, exploring everything from floating barriers to commercial harvesting. Dominica's Prime Minister urged a unified Caribbean stance for climate finance and resilient infrastructure, while Antigua and Barbuda set an ambitious timeline to eliminate all single-use plastics by early 2026 through phased bans, incentives, and public education. St. Vincent and the Grenadines advanced an island-shaping geothermal project near La Soufriere, with exploratory drilling confirming a resource that could power the nation and stabilize prices. Why this matters. Climate pressures are immediate, transboundary, and existential for small island states. Coordinated action can turn risk into resilience and opportunity. Questions to consider. Can sargassum become feedstock for fertilizers or biofuels at commercial scale? What transparent and direct climate finance mechanisms will actually reach communities? How do we manage environmental risks around geothermal while delivering clean, affordable power? Health and society saw uplifting steps as Barbados's main public hospital unveiled advanced imaging, surgical, and laboratory systems to cut wait times and improve outcomes, reducing the need for overseas care. Culture took the global stage with a Caribbean Pavilion Day in Asia, showcasing music, dance, innovation, and resilience to international audiences, deepening tourism and diplomatic links. Why this matters. Modern care saves lives and money. Cultural diplomacy fuels pride and economic opportunity. Questions to consider. How will hospitals maintain and staff cutting-edge equipment over the long term? Can virtual cultural programming magnify our reach between expos? Sports delivered a banner week. Caribbean athletes shone at World Championships in Asia, a javelin gold from a Twin Island republic, a sprint title breaking a decade-long drought, and a healthy medal haul across events, galvanizing investment in coaching and facilities. In franchise cricket, a women's team from the region completed a historic three-peat, powered by late innings batting and disciplined bowling, another boost for women's sports, viewership, and sponsorship. Selectors also recalled experienced batters for an overseas tour against a top Asian side, signaling tactical adjustments after mixed results. Why this matters: athletic success lifts morale, attracts investment, and models excellence for youth, while smart selection policies keep that pipeline strong. Questions to consider: what investments most efficiently nurture the next wave of talent? How can leagues expand participation while sustaining quality? Could regional mentorship programs accelerate international readiness? And on the diplomatic front, regional leaders issued a firm denunciation of a recent military strike in the Gulf, warning it endangers ceasefire efforts and undermines international norms. Why this matters: principled, collective voices from small states can influence de-escalation and protect global rules we rely on for trade and safety. Questions to consider: how can alliances of small nations amplify impact without taking sides in great power rivalries? These and other issues are of great concern within the islands. What do you think are some good solutions? Let us know your thoughts by texting your comments to 1-315-898-1449. You can also join our WhatsApp group and get the news, weather, and other insightful information delivered right to your smartphone. To join, text JOIN to 1-315-898-1449. Please include your name in the text message. You will receive a call to verify your request. I'm your reporter, SGD, signing off for DGHradio.com. Remember, SGD and DGH, together we source, gather, and deliver daily global headlines, because on DGHradio.com, the news never sleeps. Ciao.